5 seasons in, and Arrow still manages to be the best show the CW has going for it in their superhero world. I'm going to do a review of Season 5 right now. That's what this video is. You clicked on it, you knew what was coming up, so this is a redundant statement I'm making. I'm going to do this the same way I did the Flash video the other day, where I'm going to give you my top 5 favorite things from the season and my top 5 least favorite things from the season. And I will say, finding things I didn't like in this season of Arrow was really hard, because I think this show finally figured out how to course correct from the disaster that was Season 4 and give us a really great Season 5 that was strong. The characters were great, the stories were great, the violence and the action, all of it was so good and finally suited the Arrow that we've seen in the first 3 seasons. And I'm really glad that we finally got back to that kind of tone, that kind of story we're trying to tell, because it really just needed it. It really just needed it, and I'm really glad it got it, because I love Arrow, and I've had problems with this show in the past couple of seasons, but this whole season, Season 5, I think has been the best season of Arrow we've ever gotten. And here are my top 5 reasons why this season worked and why it was so good. So number 5, this is a hard one to say, putting it so low, but Dolph Lundgren. First off, you get Dolph Lundgren on the CW, that's just impressive on its own right. Because he's not a big actor, he's not super famous, but Dolph Lundgren is a name, and he is somebody you know, and you're going to recognize him when he's on screen. So you get talent like Dolph Lundgren in your show, you're damn right people are going to be invested with his character. His character was incredible. Konstantin Kovar, right? Konstantin Kovar? Who cares? You know who I mean. Dolph Lundgren is, that's what I just called him. I don't care, it's Konstantin. But yeah, Dolph Lundgren, he is just such a presence in this series. Every time he's in the flashbacks, you can tell that he is strong, he's tough, he is scary. And you feel that in every scene he is in. He made this season what it is today and really helped bring it into this violence, gritty, realistic tone that I was missing from the mystical Damien Dark stuff. But Konstantin Kovar was such a good bad guy, so strong and scary, and Dolph Lundgren really did that. And going full Russian accent, oh my god, thank you so much for going that in depth. It was so great and so impactful, and it was so fun. Such an interesting take on a bad guy for Arrow. It just really helped the season, and it's not even half of what made this season so good. But I just think Dolph Lundgren, if you go into this and you're expecting Dolph Lundgren, you're going to get Dolph Lundgren. Is he in the whole season? No, he's not. But the episodes he is in, it's strong, it's scary, and he is great. And you're going to love him because he is just a presence, but also feels like he can fit into this world. And I thought that really worked. So, number 5, Dolph Lundgren. Number 4, kind of jumping off the Dolph Lundgren thing, I'm going to another villain. Weird, right? So weird. But no, Prometheus. Adrian Chase. This guy, that's a spoiler, I guess. Prometheus is Adrian. If you're not caught up, I'm sorry. But no. Prometheus is the villain we've been waiting for since Deathstroke. Because this is what you need from an Arrow villain. You need somebody who's intense, who's scary, who just is everything Oliver doesn't want to be. And even to the credit of the actor that played Prometheus, Josh Segarra, something like that, whoever he is, however you say his last name, he did so good. And the way he played off Stephen Amell, this is the best Stephen Amell has been since the first season. There's one episode in particular where you can see these two are going at it, and Prometheus trying to convince Oliver to say these things, you know, what he really thinks about killing and violence. And there's so much great intensity in the way these two play off each other. But all of that goes to Prometheus and the way that this character was written and the story of Prometheus was told, because it's such an intense, so heartwarmingly scary character. You hate him so much, but you understand where he's coming from and why he's trying to do these things to Oliver. And it's not, you don't need a lot from that. We got enough where it's like, okay, that's understandable. But the way he goes about doing these things, I think it really works, and it really makes his character intriguing and scary. He is intense, and he goes to extreme length, almost to the times where you're just like, how did he get all this together in such a short amount of time? But that doesn't matter, because when you see him on screen, when you see him fighting as Prometheus, or when you just see Adrian Chase, He is there. You see his presence almost as much as Dolph Lundgren, and he really is what made this season so good. Everything about this season comes back to what Adrian did from the beginning of the season all the way till the end. The way him and Stephen Amell, they were able to play off each other. I couldn't believe the chemistry and just the veracity that these two had for each other. It just worked so well, and I give credit to both of them. Stephen Amell, again, such a great job this season, bringing back this realness and grounded story to Oliver in this intense, brutal way, and I just loved every second of it. And because of that, Prometheus, I think, besides Slade Wilson and maybe besides Captain Cold, is the best villain the CW has put out. I'll say it in their, DC thing. I keep forgetting to say DC, but whatever. So yeah, number 4, Prometheus. What a villain. What a villain. So number 3, I got another character. I know, that's another one going on, but this character, I started off hating this character because there are aspects I was like, yeah, this is going to get old. I don't need to see this shtick anymore. That is Wild Dog. Renee, I love Renee. Renee is such a powerful character. He represents the good and the bad of this show. You start off this season, we have the recruits. I didn't care for a lot of them. Ragman was my favorite, I'll admit. I loved Ragman, and I'm really upset he left the way Roy Harper left because I liked Roy. But Renee, he is such an interesting character. Wild Dog, I started off like, oh, he's just going to be this violent, crazy guy that goes around shooting. But no, they gave a lot of heart to him later on with everything involving his daughter and his wife and trying to figure out who he is. I really did like where his story went. At the same time, he did represent some of the bad in the season. And I'll get to that later because there's a big thing I do want to talk about. That's bad. But no, Wild Dog, his character is so intriguing, and I'm really glad they're making him a season regular in the next season because his presence needs to be here. He represents a different kind of angle to the whole thing going on here. Yes, John was in the military, but he was, discharged. He went through all these different experiences, and I just like how they're playing off of him and what they're doing with him because it makes him so much more intriguing, and I really just liked him. Wild Dog was so good at the later ends, and you can see what he wants to do. He wants to get his daughter back, and it's such great things happening, and I just thought Wild Dog was so good. I had to put him on my top 5 because, yes, Stephen Amell just crushed it. Diggle crushed it. Felicity crushed it, but all these new additions to the cast, I think, are what built it up to be better than the last one. And I was going into this like, how are they going to be able to fill the void when Laurel died? Because I'm a big fan of Laurel. I will say that from the get-go. Season 1, Season 4, Laurel has been my favorite character. Black Siren, another story. She's not in my negatives, but another story. I don't know how I feel about her, but no, I wanted to put maybe like, Diggle's story or Felicity's story in this, but I couldn't because these new characters that we're introduced to in Season 5, I think are what elevated it because we're building a world even bigger than before, and I really did like that aspect. So number 3, I have Wild Dog. Number 2, this is a big thing. This is the biggest thing they were teasing about this season, and that is the violence. We're going back to the the gritty, brutal. Why did I get those confused? I'm not editing that out. Yeah, fuck that. No, the gritty, the brutal, intense violence, the blood, the breaking of bones, the killing, the murdering. Oliver's killing, Prometheus is killing. Everybody is getting violent and intense. And in this, there's so many great scenes to talk about, and it's just so amazing. It felt realistic again. You can go back to Season 4, the Damien Dark stuff. Things got a little convoluted at times. And I think it really helped when they had Constantine on the show. But no, in this, it felt realistic. The characters all felt good again. And the violence. Just the one, who was that guy's name? The guy that Stephen Amell fought in WWE. Stardust. When they're fighting and, he can't feel any pain, so he severs all, the tendons in his limbs so he can't move them. That was great. There's so much great violence and action that I have to mention that because that is one of the highlights of this season is the violence and the action because it takes it back to what made Arrow great in the first place, and that's a realistic tone. This dark and scary thing that we haven't seen in the other seasons. It's getting back to that. and it was so great. The violence just made this series. Thank you so much for going back to that realistic tone. That's what helped this series. And it also helps get me anticipated for the next season, because 6 seasons, that's a lot. 22 episodes each, that is a lot of TV. But you're still doing something fresh, and you're going back to what made you successful in the first place, so that gets me excited. Thank you. So what is my number 1 best thing of this season? What could it be? There's so much great stuff. So much. What could it possibly be? They made season 1 matter. We've waited 5 years to find out what happened to Oliver on that island, and seeing how he got there and what he went through to get there and be rescued was incredible. It was a journey on its own. There was ups, there was downs. This was definitely an up. We see how he learned to fight, where the hood came from. We see a flashback to all his pain that he went through in the past 4 years, and it brought everything back. And even him killing in the first season came back to haunt him in this season. Some of the villains, some of the characters, it all came back to this season and brought everything together in a nice bow that just was incredible. And I was super impressed with. It just tied everything together so nicely and so perfectly. The villains, the characters, just the flashbacks too. How are we not going to have the show for flashbacks now? That's going to be crazy. But no, they tied up the flashbacks so nicely. They gave us great characters. The Bratva was amazing, and it helped you see everything that happened to Oliver in season 1, even seeing his dad. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention, as an honorable mention for my favorite things, the crossover episode of Arrow of all the shows, and we see Tommy, we see Laurel, we see Mama and Dada Queen, we see all these people coming back. That is a great episode for fans of Arrow. Their 100th episode. That just makes you happy, makes you want to be an Arrow fan again. But where was Walter? Who knows? It's Walter. Not a big deal. He's probably Vigilante, right? There's an honorable mention for my negative. Vigilante. Where'd he go? Or where did she go? Who knows? Just kind of left. But that's it. That's it. Those are the things I loved about this season of Arrow. Dolph Lundgren, Prometheus, Wild Dog, the violence, and making season 1 matter again. That was just great. So let's get into the things I didn't like. I'm going to be honest. This was a hard list to make because this was a stellar season. But I'm going to try. So number 5, the thing I hated. I had one big issue with this. This is kind of a silly thing, but no. The continuity. There's a continuity error I have. How does Mr. Terrific get his hair braided down so fast? Like, I don't get it. Like, how does he do that? It's almost impossible, right? Like, Curtis has to, he's got, some weird afro shit, and then in the next scene, it'll all be down when he's Mr. Terrific. Like, that's hard. How does he do that? That's a problem. I want to know how he does that, and it's really pissing me off that he can do it so fast. So, yeah, that's just stupid. Like, how does he do it? Does he wear a wig? I don't know. He does, though. Doesn't he, does the actor wear a wig? I can't remember. Whatever. So, yeah, number 5, Mr. Terrific's hair thing. Like, how does he do it? It's weird. Number 4, Talia al Ghul. This is a weird one because Talia was good at times and bad at others, but I wish they used her differently, and that I think is the biggest criticism. She didn't feel all that relevant to the story. Like, they could have put anybody else in there and it would have worked, but they put her in because Talia is a name and yada bada bing, bada bada yada yada, that kind of shit. But no, I didn't hate her at times either. I just felt like this character's not doing anything important. This could literally be anybody else, and I'd still get the same feeling. But I get they want the whole Nisa and Talia thing. I get that. I'm just glad, that Oliver didn't sleep with her and have a kid, and then that kid grows up to resent Daddy. And because, Batman. He's not Batman. He's not Batman. God, he's not. But no, Talia, she was fine. I just felt like she didn't do anything to make the season better. That's all I got to say about that. Number 3, again, not a big deal, but just something I wish Thea was in the season more. I know she's probably all filming other things. Willa, she's a busy actress, or is she? I don't know. I haven't seen her in anything else, but Who knows? She could be doing other stuff. I wanted to see more Thea. Thea is a really great character, and I get it. She wants to move on to other projects. That's cool. I'm okay with that. But tell me, don't be like, where's Thea? Where's Thea? I want to know what Thea's doing. That's all I gotta know. Just tell me what Thea's doing. I wanted to see more of her. Not a big deal. Again, I don't have a lot of negatives about this show because this season was so good, even without all the Thea. And I really wanted more Thea. So yeah, number 3. Give me more Thea. That's all I have to say. Number 2, a character who... Yeah, a character. There you go. Oh boy, Artemis. Yeah, I didn't like her in the last season. I didn't like her in this season. And when she turned out to be evil, I hated her even more because she didn't do anything. She just kind of complained like, Oliver, you're not doing anything. But you're not doing anything either by helping Prometheus. You're kind of just bitching more. And she's got that stupid fucking smirk on her face. You know the one. You watch any scene she's in where she's evil. She's got that dumb grin on her face like, yeah, I'm smarter than you, Oliver. It's like, no, you're not. Okay, you're just some dumb little kid who doesn't know what she's doing because she just wants attention. And we need another person on Team Prometheus because, you know, we can't have all those people working with Oliver. You know how it goes. But no, I hated Artemis. And I'm a huge fan of Artemis. Like, Young Justice, bro. Artemis is one of my fave characters in that shit. I wanted to like her more. But I didn't. And it really hurt. Yeah. So number 2, Artemis, and you can tell those 4 were not big issues I've had. You know, they're not big deals. They're just things that are happening, whatever. I can move on. It didn't hinder the season as much as my number 1 gripe did. What is my number 1 gripe? Oh, you damn well know what it is. If you've seen the Flash video, you know I hated the fucking musical. What was worse than that musical? This goddamn episode about gun control. What the hell was that? That came out of nowhere. We have this whole episode talking about Mayor Queen. Should guns be allowed? What are we going to do about it? Oh no, guns should be okay. Curtis is against it. Renee is for it. All that kind of shit. Renee's wife got shot because of a gun. That's how you get shot. It was so preachy. I don't need to see preachy from Arrow. The guy's a Cupid, for God's sake. We don't need to see that shit, okay? Don't try to preach to me about guns, okay? You guys are vigilantes and you all just use guns in the next episode anyways. Okay? Don't make a big deal out of it. That was the worst part of this whole season because it was a throwaway episode trying to preach to you about something you already knew didn't matter but mattered. And it was so annoying. So annoying. But if that's the only big gripe I can walk away from this season, then you know it's a strong season. The characters were all great, and we're 5 seasons in, and everything still feels great and original. The flashbacks mattered again. The violence was great. The villains were intense, and everything made sense once more, and it was great. So I'm going to give this season, Season 5 of Arrow, a 90%. Damn straight I am. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this review. I will catch you in the next one. Hopefully, you'll watch. Good luck.